Hello everyone, it's Pat here at Beads and Plenty More, and today I'm going to talk about making these bracelets here. I've got the white one is made with glass pearls, and on it I used a 28 gauge wire, really light wire, so it's very soft and flexible. I was a little afraid that the 28 gauge might be difficult to keep its strength and it might break easily. So on the next one, I went with a 26 gauge, which makes it a little bit more sturdy, not quite as flexible, but also very pretty. Now this design is really good because it's a little bit flexible. You can push these units in to make them more rounded, or you can pull them out to get a little bit more length. So you can adjust your size by a little bit, not inches or centimeters, but just a little bit. So today I'm going to work with magnetic clasp again, and I'm going to use the 26 gauge, the little bit heavier, and I've got a navy colored magnesite bead here that I'm going to work on, and my magnetic clasp, my 26 gauge wire. So I've cut 3 pieces 15 inches long, and that should give me enough to make a fairly long bracelet. You can cut back a little bit if you only need a 6-inch bracelet, but I like to work with plenty of wire in case we want to make it just a bit longer. Plus, it's much easier to do your ends if you've got a good amount of wire to work with. So I line up my 3 ends here. Oh, it's very curly. And I'm going to put those 3 ends through the hole on my magnetic clasp here. Get all 3 through, make sure all 3 are in. Oh, they're not. Get that last one in. There we are. So we're going to take these and bring them around. Again, I'm going to line them up a little bit better so that I have them all even to work with. There we go. I'm going to bring this around. This is why I say it's always good to have a little bit of extra wire. So we bring the wire around. I don't want to make this really tight because I want the be some movement at the clasp. So we'll give it a little bit of extra space right there. So that's where I start, and then I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to do 2 wraps with it, like a wire wrap loop around. There, I've got my 2 wraps, and I've got a nice little circle there to give some space. We'll just round that out just a little bit with my round pliers so that it looks a little bit more even. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to cut away this excess wire with my cutters. Go in tight and nip them off, and then take my chain nose pliers to get that nice and tight there. Okay, ready to go. I'm working with a metal bead like this, a little 100-piece packets, and I am going to start by going down to the other end here, and we'll put on one of these beads on all 3 wires. Oh, that one does not want to cooperate. So there we are. Get my 3 wires all on one silver bead. So we'll tuck that bead right up there, center it up a bit. Then we proceed to take your navy colored beads that I'm working with, and I'm going to take each wire and put 3 beads on it. Three, drop them right down to where my silver bead is. Take another wire. Now you can work backwards on your strung beads, which makes it a little easier to string. Not sure if I got that one right in your view, so I'll do this one, make sure I get it so that you can see what I mean by taking your strung bead and go in on the strung beads so that you don't waste the fact that they're already strung for you. So there, I've got the 3 on each of the wires. And when you're working with the longer wires, it's a little more awkward. As we get towards the other end of the where the clasp is, it's much less wire to worry about. Okay, so now I'm going to line up my 3 again and put a silver bead back on. And of course, when you're choosing the silver or your spacer bead that goes to hold all 3, you want to be sure you have something that has enough the size of hole so that it will go on. Okay, so as you can see you can see a lot of wire at this point. So what happens with this design is we give it a push so that it will hold all the wires together like that. And so we continue. Another trick too I found was that before I put the silver wire or silver bead on, take the wire and bring the beads all together and put a twist in here. And that will hold them from showing too much wire. So we'll continue with this all the way to the other end, of course, to the other, whatever length you need. And then we're going to finish the other end the same with leaving a little gap like that so that you've got flexibility with your magnet clasp, and make sure you get the length as you would need. Now I had another idea with this same pattern that I got started on, and I want to show you that as well. It is, push these all out of the way so you can see this. I did a wire wrap pendant, and I wanted to feature it in a necklace, and with this same, but I used 2 strands of beads instead of 3. Now I started with this side, and I was getting a lot of gap in the wire, so I didn't really like that, so redesigned it on the other side here to add some little 3mm beads as well as the 5, I think this is, millimeter bead. And in the center, because the pendant, separate this a bit so you can see the pendant has a large bail on it, I needed to find a way to set that in, and I used 2 large beads that nest right into the pendant like that. So all of these come back down there. So it looks like that. Anyway, I hope you like this pattern. It works really well for making a necklace to go with your pendant or a nice bracelet. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.